Oh, oh, I'm sorry. I couldn't tell that the internet is just not cooperating tonight. Oh my goodness. Okay, okay. So far it looks like I'm on. Okay. So, hey everybody. Welcome to Kiki Loves Nigeria. How is everybody doing this Saturday? I am doing just fine. To those who don't know me, my name is Kiki Loves Nigeria. I am from the Midwest, the great state of Ohio. And on my channel, I talk about things that impact your repatriation journey to West Africa. I don't really talk about East Africa because I like to talk about the places that I've been to or that I intend on visiting. Okay, so I can give you like not only just background knowledge, I can give you, firsthand knowledge. So I talk about those countries. So tonight we're going to talk about one of my favorite countries in West Africa. We're going to talk about one of the countries where I have the most DNA in my body, and that is Nigeria. That's why I call myself Kiki Loves Nigeria. So I got my information from news articles and also from interviews on YouTube and a podcast. So tonight we're going to talk about romance scams because it seems to be a lot of romance scamming going on for women and men who want to repatriate. So this is something we really, really, really have to look out for. And we have to look out for it because it's not just our money that, we can lose. We're losing our lives. And as you can see, it doesn't matter what color you are. We have mysterious people, women dying in the Gambia. We have women dying mysteriously in Nigeria. And now we have this woman dying. She made it back to the United States, but she died right after she got back. So this is really an issue. And as you can see, I want you all to see that this is not a color issue. This has nothing to do with what color you are. It's not about what color you are. It's about where you're from. It's about the money, how they see you as an opportunity, like I talked about in the other video when I was in the Gambia. Nigeria is not a sex tourism place. It's not known for that. So they don't do sex tourism, which means you don't see women going there to have sex with 25-year-olds. Well, you do see that, but they end up marrying them. Okay, they'll go there to marry them. Okay, and once they get there, as you guys see, the ones we've seen, they they pass away mysteriously. Some of them, not all of them, but some of them have passed away mysteriously. So that's why this is very important. It's very important because you'll go there and you marry this person and you think like in our mind, this is a real marriage. Come plug up my phone before you go, please. And well, where are they at to come pick you up? Oh, okay. So you think this is a legitimate marriage. You think who's going to lie and who's going to pretend about a marriage, right? So you are all for this because you're believing you are going to marry this person and that this person is not lying about it until you get there. Now, this is the game that they play until you get there or until they get here. And then you realize, oh no, I don't want you. I really don't have an interest in you. I just either wanted to get your money while I was in Nigeria, or either I wanted to get to America. So that's the scam game that they play. It's totally different from the one in the Gambia. The Gambia, they be with them for real. They'll be with them women for real, but you're paying them to be with you, but they are with you for real. Yeah, they are legitimately in a relationship with you. Okay? So that's really the difference. In Nigeria, it ain't a real relationship. It ain't no real relationship. You're not gonna meet nobody but his friends, his guy friends. You're not gonna meet his family. See, the internet is just jumpy. You're not gonna meet his family. And if you do, you'll probably meet one person out of the family, or you'll meet people pretending to be the family, but you're not going to meet the family for real because you're not the real person. Okay. So it's a totally different game in Nigeria. And you need to be aware of that because it seems to be the Nigerians who are leading this game of unaliving people. It seems to be the Nigerians who are, well, I'm not, no, that's a lie. I take that back. That's not true. It's the Nigerians who are leading the game and getting the money because they're getting lots and lots of money from these women. Lots and lots of money from these. And they get them from men too because they'll pretend to be women. So don't think you're a man and, oh, I don't have to worry about this because I'm a man. No, that's a lie. I just haven't gotten to the stories about the men. But there's men also who thought they were talking to women and come to find out they were talking to a Nigerian man. All right. So this is something we seriously, we have to all watch out for. Beautiful, help him find them keys. Oh, okay. Okay. So let me see. So that's why we're talking about this, because this is a serious issue, a very serious issue. Now, the person we're talking about tonight, her name is Diane Webb. All right. Miss Diane Webb was originally, bye-bye, I love you, have a good time. Miss Diane Webb was originally from Ohio. Yeah, Ohio. She grew up in Ohio, and then her parents relocated her to Alaska when she was young, and then she went to Idaho. Now, while I'm telling you this story, I want you to know this about Miss Diane. Miss Diane grew up in Ohio at a time. Ohio was a very segregated place. Ohio was a state that believed that the races should not mix. Okay. The city that I lived in was very segregated. Well, I grew up in a very segregated city. Okay. And it was normal for us to have the African American side and the white people side. Okay. And we knew you could cross over at certain times, but at certain times when it got dark, when it was about to get dark, you had to get back over to our side of town. So we knew that. I grew up like that. And to me, that was the norm. Okay. So Miss Diane grew up in the same environment that I grew up. So this lady is a white lady. She grew up in a time where the races did not mix, where we were taught races do not mix. That's not what we do in Ohio. It's changed a lot now, but back then in the 70s, some of the 80s, it was really like that. The government had to, the federal government had to come in and make the government here integrate because it was so bad they couldn't. The Fed said you can't do that. You can't practice segregation. We outruled that. So they had to force them to integrate our schools, to integrate our neighborhoods, to integrate everything. The federal government had to do that for Ohio. So this is the type of environment that this lady grew up in, the same type that I grew up in, okay? So she moves to Alaska, then she moves to Idaho. Well, unfortunately, while she was in Idaho, her husband passes away, okay? He passes away, and so she's alone. She's alone for a long time, and then, but she's doing pretty good because she's surrounded by her family. She seems like her family was really, really close. So she was surrounded by her family and her mom. She was with her mom. So she was living a pretty good life. All right. If y'all have any questions, y'all can go ahead and ask them because I got to stop and pause at certain times. So, excuse me. So her mom passes away. This is when things really begin to go downhill, is when her mom passes away. Her mom passes away, and she realizes how lonely she really is. It's real, she was probably depressed because if you lose a parent, anybody who's lost a parent, especially a parent that they cared for, especially a parent that they took care of in their last days, you feel like you lose a part of yourself, okay? And it is a longing and a pain that just seems like it never goes away. So some people look, instead of working through that pain and dealing with that and going through, I call it going through hellfire. Some people don't want to go through hellfire. So what they do, they look for things to kind of put out the flame, to say the flame's not there. And a lot of people will turn to relationships. And unfortunately, Miss Diane turned into the internet, to online relationships. Okay. So after her mom died, she became really depressed. But I don't think she saw it as depression. I don't think she knew, or her family knew what it was. They just knew that she said she was really sad all the time, and she said she was really lonely. So at that time, her granddaughter told her, why don't you go online and meet somebody online? Well, this was in 2000. Yeah, it was 2000. It was before the pandemic hit, so it was about 2000. So it was in 2000, and her granddaughter encouraged her to go online and meet someone. Now, in 2000, a lot of people are going online. A lot of people are meeting people. A lot of people, are socializing online and using the internet to do so. So she does that. Miss Diana goes online and she meets men. She starts meeting all type of men, okay? And these men like her and she likes them. They're talking on the phone, they're doing video calls, they're interacting, they're having a great time. But there's this one that she really likes, and his name is Michael. And he's an older white gentleman, and he's in another country, but she really likes him. And she tells her granddaughter about him. And the granddaughter says, she didn't want her to talk to Michael because Michael was in another country. And she was like, no, grandma, you need to just talk to people who are here. So they meet a man that's here. But the grandmother, she said, Miss Diane, didn't seem comfortable meeting men in person. And that could have been because, she hadn't had a relationship. She was just in that one relationship. And once it was over, she didn't have another relationship. So it sounded like she just felt uncomfortable meeting men in person. So she didn't want to do that. She wanted to stick to talking to men online. So this is what she did. She just talked to the men online. And this Michael, he was always there to talk. So, of course, she's going to develop this strong attraction to Michael. And that's what she did. Okay, so let's go up here. Let me go read these comments. Hi. Yeah, she said it's so sad. It really is so sad. It's very sad. But this one, like I said, the more we get into it, the more you guys, it's some of the story, it just didn't sound right to me. It didn't sound right to me. And that's why I said, well, let me do this story live. Because this story, every time I was doing the video, I was asking questions. I kept asking the questions out loud. And I'm like, okay, the video was turning out to be like 30 minutes. And it was just full of me like saying, well, that doesn't sound right. Well, that doesn't sound right. So I said, okay, let's do this live. Let's just put this out there and let's just talk about it. Because most people won't call a spade, especially when they're dealing with someone who's deceased. Okay. But I believe in this situation, we have to tell the truth. We have to put the facts out there the way they present themselves and evaluate them for what they are and evaluate their merit. And that's exactly what we're going to do. And I said, so instead of me getting all this, people going off about, oh, you shouldn't have said that and you shouldn't have said that, I'm going to just present it live so we can just talk about it. All right. So now she meets Michael. So who is Michael, everybody? Michael, she goes on Plenty of Fish and she meets Michael. Michael is an older white man, like I said, who's in another country. And he always promised to come visit. She would pay for the ticket. She would tell him Well, no, I'm not going to say she would pay for the ticket. I'm not going to say that because I don't know that. I didn't hear that anywhere. So I'm going to take that back. Okay. I don't know if she paid for the ticket, but I do know they said that whenever it was time for him to come, something would happen. He would be like at the airport and he wouldn't have money to get the Uber to get to the house, or he didn't have money to pay for certain things to get to her. So he would always be stuck at the airport and he never could complete the trip. So that was the first sign when the family thought something was wrong, but they still didn't know what was going on. So after that, Michael decides he's going to tell Miss Diane who he really is. So for some reason, I don't know why, they didn't say why. They just said all of a sudden she knew who he was. So he was pretending to be an older white man at first. An older white man who was in another country and who had money. He was a wealthy older white man who was in another country. Now, all of a sudden, he just tells her he's a Nigerian. He tells her who he really is. He says he's 25 years old and he's actually a Nigerian. They said she gets upset, but she still would talk to him. So they said it was after a while, he admitted that his profile, that whole thing about him being the white man, all that about the white man was totally fake. It was totally made up. He catfished her. That's what they call it, catfished her. She knew he catfished her because he admitted he catfished her. Now keep all this in mind, y'all. That's why I'm saying, I mean, what's really going on here? So she knew he catfished her because he told her he did. He showed her who he really was. And like I said, he was a 25-year-old Nigerian. So he tells her who he is. He tells her it was all fake. She says at first she was upset. She was mad at him because she felt like, why did you lie to me? Why did you pretend to be somebody you weren't? And he said, none of that should matter now because we really love each other. And all that matters is that we love each other. Now, remember, I told you guys where this lady grew up. She grew up the same way I did. The races don't mix in Ohio. No, we don't mix. You stay on your side, we stay on our side. And we understand that. And we just deal with it because that's life for us. So this person who grew up with that, and this lady was older than me. Of course, she's older than me. She's in her 70s. But this lady who was older than me, she grew up when it was really, really bad, okay? Really bad. Before the civil rights movement. She grew up in Ohio when it was like that. So it was 100 times worse than when I grew up, okay? This lady is now involved with a 25-year-old Nigerian. A 25-year-old Nigerian. And mind you, he was 25 at the time of this story when they finally met. He was 21 when she started talking to him because they had spoke like, let me say 25. They had spoken on the internet for 3 years, 21, 22, 23, 24. He was 24 going on 25. Yeah. They had spoken on the internet. They had done this romance thing for 3 years. 3 years they were talking. So for 3 years, because he admitted early in the relationship that he was a 25-year-old Nigerian, before she even started sending a dime, before any of that happened, she would send a little when he would say he was at the airport, but it was really money. It was a little, okay, I need somebody for an Uber. It was like that. But it wasn't thousands of dollars. That didn't happen to after she knew who this person really was. So after she knew who Michael really was, she still talks to him. She still talks to him. Okay. And her family, this is the part that's crazy. Her family even talks to him. So everybody is aware of this relationship. They're video calling each other. Now, see, that's one thing when she said this was a scam, a romance scam. I'm like, well, that right there for the Nigerian scam game doesn't meet the qualifications, okay? Because the romance scam person, well, the online people who were scamming you out your money, the Yahoo boys, okay? They tried to present it like it was a Yahoo boy. And I'm like, no, this doesn't sound like Yahoo boys. For one, you're never going to meet them. You're never going to see the real Yahoo boy. We've done stories about the Yahoo boys. You won't meet them, okay? Because they go in shifts. Soon as soon as he is off, somebody else is going to take over. So you're not going to meet him. This lady actually met him. He spoke to the whole entire family. The whole entire family. So they knew who he was. Everybody knew who Michael was. So then I'm like, wait a minute. This isn't a romance scam. He's not trying to get to America for a green card. So where's the scam part? So let's finish. So I'm still listening, okay? I'm still listening. But I'm questioning because all of this don't make sense to me. Because I'm like, he's showing you who he is. He admitted who he was. He admitted he catfished you, and you still talk to him. You still talk to him after you knew he catfished you. You still talk to him after you knew he was really a 25-year-old Nigerian. Well, he was 21 then, a 21-year-old Nigerian. And they said, now listen to how these women described him. Because these were women talking about this. It was her daughter, it was her granddaughter, it was her two daughters and her granddaughter. They said he was a very handsome young Nigerian. And they said that he apologized to them for lying about the relationship in the beginning, and that he really loved their mother and her grandmother, and that he really wanted to be in a relationship with her. And he said that she's a very handsome, they said he was a very, very handsome Nigerian man, and he was young. And they said that she would often brag. Now, listen to this. She would often brag to her granddaughter that my boyfriend is younger than you. Okay. So I'm like, okay, so she's going along with this. So she don't have a problem with none of this. She's proud of this. So that's when I'm like, she's still, well, at this time, I think she's 69 and he's 21. And she's proud that she's in this relationship with him. This lady who grew up in segregated Ohio. She says she has no problem with who he is or where he comes from, that he's a Nigerian. That's not an issue. Okay? So let's just keep it going. So now they're in this relationship. Okay? So let's stop there. Let me look at these comments. They're in this relationship. They're in this fully committed relationship, and they're fully committed to each other, and the family knows it. The family, they're shocked. Because the granddaughter, guess what the granddaughter said, y'all? And I said, I can't believe she even said that. I would have never said that. She said, well, when I heard my grandmother tell me she was in a relationship with this Nigerian. I'm sorry, y'all. I just want y'all to understand how it felt. I said, my granddaddy would turn over in his grave if he knew you was dating a Nigerian. Yeah. Now she's saying she didn't have that mindset. But if you didn't have that mindset, why would you even mention that? Why would that be an issue? You see what I mean? So it wasn't the issue that he was 25. It was the issue that she grew up in segregated Ohio, and that her granddad would turn over in his grave if he knew she was dating a Black man. Because in her family, you don't date Black men. You don't get involved in relationships with Black men. Yes. Yes. So they all were shocked because she was in this relationship with this African. Not only was he past a Black man, he was an African. And they accepted it. They didn't have a choice, really. But they did choose to talk to him. They did choose to interact with him. They did choose to have a relationship with him. They all did. So that's what I said. I was like, oh, wow. What's really going on here? What is really going on? So let me read this comment. Because I'm like, a lot of this just don't sound right. Because for one, families don't normally be involved in those type of relationships. They don't. They don't be involved. They don't want to talk to your family. They want to talk to you. They want to get you away from your family. They're not trying to be cool with you and your family. They're not trying to get your family to know who they are. They're not trying to do any of that because none of that matters. Okay? What matters is you and your money. So I'm just like trying to figure out what kind of person is this? And I'm like, this is not a Yahoo boy. This is not a Yahoo boy because Yahoo boys don't operate like this. Yahoo boys ain't sitting up talking to the family and showing you their face. They're not doing that. So I'm like, okay, this is one of them young Nigerians who have access to the internet and who's just on Plenty of Fish looking for older women because he's heard that you can play mind games with them, make you think they love you, that you love them, because that's all they're going to do. It's called love bombing you. And it's like a drug. I'm telling you, like they get you on drugs. And it's their drug. It's the whatever their name is, it's the Michael drug. So we get her on the Michael drug where she needs to talk to Michael every day because she needs Michael to help her release that dopamine in her brain to make her feel good. And that's what happens. And he continues to tell her how beautiful she is. He continues to tell her how much he loves her. He continues to tell her how much he wants her because that's what they do. And this could just be a narcissist because narcissists will do the same thing too until they get you. And then once they get you, oh, Lord have mercy. And Nigeria is full. There's a narcissistic spirit that just floats and just hovers. That's how I'm going to say it hovers over Nigeria. Yes, it hovers over Nigeria. So this person could have just been a narcissist. So let's see what this comment says. You have to meet the family. Yes. Whoever this is, TKDS1, TKDS1, yes. You have to meet the family of the person. Yes. Go to the village and meet the grandparents. Yeah, you got to meet everybody. You gonna meet if this is a real relationship to that man, that African man, you're gonna meet so many people that you're tired of meeting people. Okay? You're gonna be like, oh Lord, how many more people do I gotta talk to? How many more people am I gonna meet? Is this gonna ever end? Yes. And you're gonna constantly be meeting people. Constantly. Every time you go, you're gonna meet people. And this person is exactly right. And Miss Lady wouldn't have the people that I talk about, they don't have those type of relationships. They're not meeting people. They're not going to the villages. They're not meeting the family. They're meeting his friends, him and his boys. And that's a big no-no, y'all. You don't never, if all he introducing you to is him and his boys, then you know what? You just be kind and you be cool that trip. Don't set him off because you in his country, okay? And you don't know where you are. So don't set him off. You just be cool that trip. But when you get back home, just know I won't be talking to you anymore. I won't be talking to you anymore because it's not real. And all the Nigerians want to get out of Nigeria because Nigeria is a nice country, okay? But Nigeria, just like most of these countries, are led by people who don't have the best interest of the people at heart. And that is the problem in all of these West African countries. The people, the people who were put in power, okay, after colonialization ended, they want to stay in power. That's just the truth, okay? And they don't want to leave, and they don't want to give the young people a chance. But it's time. It's time to go. The old way, it's time to go. And they don't want to do that. So that's why you see these uprisings everywhere. And that's what you're going to see everywhere eventually, because the young people, these countries are filled with young people. And I mean 20 and under. I think Nigeria is like 15 and under. These are their this is most of their population. But you can't tell that by the government. And the government is supposed to represent the people. So this is what's going on. And the people don't have jobs because there's a lot of nepotism, okay? There's a lot of that. And the people who do have jobs, they don't get paid, okay? The managers, the directors will get paid, but not the workers. They'll get paid every now and then. Or if they get paid, they don't get paid a lot. They don't get paid a living wage. And this is the reality of what's going on in Nigeria. And Nigeria just got a new Naira. They got a new one. So they took all the old ones out of circulation and they're trying to put the new ones in. So that made a money shortage. So on top of everything else, there's now a money shortage over there. People are doing whatever. You think they're hungry in the Gambia? Honey, go to Nigeria. Go to Nigeria. And this is the richest country in Africa. There's no way Nigeria should be like that. No way, people. No way. They have good policies on paper. Their constitution is good on paper. But when those people in power go to implement the constitution, that's when the breakdown occurs. Because the people, unfortunately, who have the power, they're all about themselves. They're all about their families. That's all they're about. They're not about the average person. So this is what forces young people like Michael, 21, to get on the internet and pretend like he loves a 69-year-old white lady from Idaho who grew up in segregated Ohio, whose granddaddy would turn over in his grave if he knew they were dating. Because you know she had to make those little comments, those little offensive comments. You know she had to. You know she had to talk to him a certain way because that's what she's used to. But see, he'll tolerate that. He'll tolerate that because he has a goal in mind. Because like I said, what else is he going to do for money? What else is he going to do for money? They limit the people walking on there with the stuff on their head. Oh, they've limited those jobs. Yeah, they've limited that because they don't want you walking in between the cars. They don't want you messing up their traffic. No. So those people have limited jobs now. And a lot of people did that to make little change. But you can't do that anymore. So what else are these people going to do? They limited the transportation service. They've limited a lot of ways that you can make money. So what do? They go online and they become online scammers because what's there and it's really good? The internet. The internet. So what does Jay have to say? Jay says, I noticed a lot of Nigerians like to scam people from the US. They think we have money like that. And that's why I have to be careful with the girl I'm talking to now. Yes, 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 you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, very careful because the girls do it too. The girls do it too. Yeah, they really do. And they'll have a whole Nigerian boyfriend who'll be in on it and he'll be helping them scam you. And I'm not saying that's what she's doing, but I'm saying you got to be careful. You have to be careful. You really do. You have to be careful and you got to learn to look for the signs. Look for the signs because like the Nigerian told me, before they met you, they were making it some kind of way. They were making it some kind of way. And if they start presenting themselves to you like they can't make it now that they've met you and they need you or they can't survive, that's a big sign. That's a big red flag because like he said, they were doing something before they met you. They were surviving before they met you. Now that they've met you, they can't survive or they need this or they need that. How did you get it before they met you? That's what we have to remember. That's what we have to remember. So, yeah, you do got to be careful. You got to look for all the signs. You got to always be aware of what's going on. Always. Who do you meet when you go visit her? Does she video chat with you? Have you met her family? Have you met her grandmother? Have you met her brothers? Have you went to the village? Have you met everybody? Have you met so many people that you tired of meeting them? And are their little babies always around and she's saying that's her sister's baby? Because they have kids early. Don't think they wait like we do. Like some of the women here wait till they're in their 30s. No, they don't do that. They don't do that. Some of them may, but most by and large, no, they don't. I'm saying the races don't mix only applies to affairs outside of the bedroom. races, races be secretly lusting and be envious of black skin. I'm not surprised. Yes. And that's what I said. I said, wow, you was lusting after this little boy. This little boy. This little boy. You was lusting after him. And look what the situation you got in. Look what you got in. That's exactly what I said. Outside. And she's right, outside of the bedroom. But in the bedroom, it didn't matter. It didn't matter. Wow. Because I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Kiki, how old are you? You look younger than what I was telling. Well, I'm going to tell you, sir, Paul, Mr. Paul, whoever told you how old I was, they're a liar. Because guess what? My own kids don't even know how old I am. Nobody in my family knows how old I am. Because you know why? Because I was raised in a household where women don't tell their age. Women don't keep track of their age. And it was rude to even ask a woman her age. So most of the women in my family were just ageless because we never embraced the concept of age. See, when you embrace the concept of age and you start tracking, oh, I'm this old, or I'm that old, or I'm this old, then you become that. You become what you say you are. But the women in my family were never raised like that. So they passed that down to all of the women. So all of the women in my family are just like ageless. Ageless. It's like they don't age. And I'm serious. So I don't discuss my age because I don't really know how old I am. When I go to the doctor and he says, okay, ma'am, how old are you? I'm like, Dad, I can't even remember. I can't remember. And he looks at me like I'm playing. And I'm like, no, I'm serious, doctor. I quit counting a long time ago. When I realized age was a social concept constructed by man to put us in groups and to tell us, you got this long to live, and while you this age, you need to come down with this illness, you need to have that illness, you need to look like this. Because what is the first thing you said? You look younger than what I was told. Because whatever you were told, the lie you were told, you had an ideal in your head of what women that age looked like because they embraced all of that. So, sir, like I said, I don't talk about my age because I don't really even know how old I am. Because, like I said, that was something I was raised not to embrace. We don't talk about that. We don't embrace that. And it's just not a part of my everyday life. And I just don't do that. So age is something I don't even know about. I don't even recognize that. So I'm sorry I can't answer your question because I don't know the answer to your question. But thank you for the compliment. I think it was a compliment anyway. Um, let's see. So I can't believe she could. Yes. Once yes. That's when I was just like, what is really going on here? Because most of the stories I read about, I talk about, these women, well, no, they weren't catfish. But the ones that I've read about where they were catfished, They were pretending to be a white man, and they found out it was a Nigerian. They quit talking to him. They quit talking to them. When they would go, this show I watched called Social Catfish, they went, when they find out, because these guys do the actual research, when they find out these guys are Nigerians, these women quit talking to them. But she did. Like the one person said, it was like she liked that he was a young Nigerian. Because I told you she was bragging to the granddaughter that my boyfriend is younger than you. My boyfriend is younger than you. And all of the women were talking about how handsome he was. Oh, yes, he was very handsome. He was very handsome. Yeah. So I'm like, what is really going on? What really happened here? Did this really happen the way they're saying it happened? Or are they just saying this? Because what? I don't understand. I don't understand what really happened in this situation. Great job providing economic context. Yes, context for the scammers. The selfishness of those empowered cops. Yes, it does. It really does. Because most of these people have went to college. That's what's crazy, y'all. They'll be engineers. They'll have computer science degrees. They'll have accounting. These will be really professional people. I told you I had a friend who was a scammer. He would tell me about it. But you got to remember that. Because who want to do this for real? Who want to get up and talk, just like in the Gambia? Who want to get up and talk to 70-year-old women every day and tell them you love them? And have to be intimate with these women. The Nigerians, I don't think they be intimate with them. I don't think so. But the Gambians, they be intimate with these women. The Nigerians, I don't think they do that. Because once they get there, it's a whole different story. So I don't think they be intimate with them. I remember Prince the singer said something about this, about not believing. Yes, because it's true. You got to do that. Because if not, you're going to start seeing what did they say? Them sicknesses, whatever sicknesses go with it, whatever age that they tell you are, you're going to start having those symptoms. You're going to start looking like that. You're going to start acting like that. And you can't embrace that. You can't take that into you because that's what this society wants to do. They want to kill you off. They want to give you an age and kill you off. So now we're at the part where Miss Diane starts to send him money. Now remember, she knows he's a 21-year-old Nigerian. She knows who he is. The whole family knows who he is. And now she starts sending him money. But the family finds out that she's sending him money. But this was after she sent him about $10,000. And the way they found out is because she told her sister. Because they told her, whatever you do not, I repeat, do not send this man money. She told him, no, I'm not going to send him any money. I'm not sending him anything. We just talking, we're in love. He doesn't ask me for money. But that was a lie. Because she started to get concerned because he was asking for so much money. Okay. And the granddaughter said in her interview that not only was these people racist, she said the grandma wouldn't give anybody money. So the grandma was tight. She was stingy on top of that. She said she wouldn't even loan her $50 if she needed it. I was like, what? She wouldn't even, she said, my grandmother wouldn't even loan me $50 if I needed it. She wouldn't give anybody anything. But she gave him $10,000 and they couldn't believe it. Yeah, that's why they didn't believe she was giving them money, because she was selfish. She was selfish. On top of everything else, she was selfish. Okay. So they said they couldn't believe it because she was selfish. Well, they didn't say selfish. She wouldn't give anybody any money. So the sister tells the family that she's giving this man money. And then they confront Miss Diana and Michael at the same time. Because I don't know if it's at the same time. I shouldn't say at the same time, but it sounded like it was like maybe they confronted her first and then confronted him. But they confronted her and she said that she agreed they wanted them to end this relationship It was too much now. He took $10,000 from her. It was over. You know, it was done. They was not going to allow this relationship to continue. So they said, okay, they weren't going to talk anymore. She agreed that she was not going to talk to him anymore, and he agreed he was not going to talk to her anymore. Well, that's at least what she told her family. It seemed like she had waited all her life for this type of man. Oh, this is just sad. This is what we would, okay, so how we draw age to us. You see what she drew to herself? You see what that type of thinking that she had? Look what she drew to herself. Because y'all, things don't just come into your life. You draw these people. We send out vibes. Vibes is energy. People are energy. Energy, people. You got to remember that. We are energy. We send out energy. We send out vibrations. Whatever vibration you send out, you're going to attract that vibration back to you. Okay? You're going to attract that back to you. And you can tell your vibe because of the people you bring into your life. And when your vibe's not right, your mate's not right. And you're going to be able to tell that. So, you know, to be honest, me and her was talking about you. Ooh, for real? What? Oh, is this Jay? Jay, is this you, Jay? Jay, I think this is you. You know, to be honest, me and her was talking about you, and I told her that I'd rather give you the money to help me get her passport, and she was willing to do that. Okay, but that's good, Jay. You can get the passport. You can give her the money. You can. How would you do that though? Because her passport, I think, is online, and I think you could pay for it online. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can pay for the passport online. Let me write that down. I meant to update that video because I think the Nigerian passports are online. But she's in Nigeria applying for a passport. Okay, so let's look at that and see. Because if it's online, you can just pay for it. You know, if you want to pay for it, there's nothing wrong with helping her out. For real, it's nothing wrong with that. But if you think she's asking for too much money, and if you feel like something ain't right, who is this uncle who's telling her every step of the way? Who is he? These are the things we need to question. Who is he? So she needs to pass. She does need the passport to apply for anything. That is the honest to God truth. She does need the passport for the visa. Okay. But like I was telling you, you're not going to know if this is a real relationship until you really be with this person. I'm just going to tell y'all the truth. You can go online and you can do all this investigation. But if you see these big red flags, that's one way. But if you don't see these red flags and this person just seem normal, you're not going to know until you and this person really get together. You're not. And you're going to keep speculating and keep guessing. But if you're doubting, that's different. You need to listen to the doubt. But you're not. You can't tell stuff online. You got to be with a person. You got to have human interaction to tell it, because online everything is different. When you get together and one person gets upset, that's when you really know. So if she's willing to do that, does that mean I should? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And it ain't that much. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I'm going to give you this little bit and I'm going to see. Trust her. Give her that little bit for the passport. Check the price to make sure it's right for the passport. And then, yeah, and see if she do the right thing. Because that's that way you're going to know. You're going to know. If not, you're just going to be treating her a certain way and you don't even know for sure. You know what I mean? Like my grandma say, you got to give people enough rope to hang themselves. Okay? So if she going to hang herself, you got to give her a little rope. Give her a little rope. If she ain't going to hang herself, then she ain't going to mess with the rope. But if she going to hang herself, give her a little rope and she going to eventually hang herself, because they going to eventually mess up. And what that means is people will mess up. Be nice to them, help them out a little bit. And if you do that and they start thinking you a fool, you're going to pick up on that. And that's what she's talking about. People will show you who they are. Be nice a little bit, they're going to show you who they are. Be nice a little bit more, they're going to show you who they are. Be nice a little bit more, they're going to really show you who they are. And if you don't like what you see, get out of there. Just get out of there. Because it's a whole bunch of Nigerian women, and it's a whole bunch of pretty African women. It's a whole bunch of them. But you just got to be careful. Because, honey, they just as treacherous as the other one. They lie so bad, be laying there. Oh, Jesus. I done know some people be laying in the bed with a woman and talking to somebody on the phone, talking about they love them, and got a woman laying right next to them, talking about that's my sister. Your sister? Since when do sisters and brothers lay in the bed, especially in Nigeria? They don't play like that. They don't do that. Nigerians don't do that. And that's what this person asked me. I'm like, no, Nigerians don't. I said, if they're little kids, but not grown people. Grown people don't sleep in the bed together, ma'am, and say they're brothers and sisters. No, they don't do that. And how much are passports for Nigerians, by the way, in US dollars? I don't know, so we got to find out. And then you need to convert it to dollars. Okay, I'm going to find out for you. Because I remember her uncle told me that people on the site will have to give them something to see. That's what I'm talking about. I don't like that. Listen to this, y'all. So this is what I don't like. And you need to tell her this. I'm not giving enough. No, then you pay that part. Listen, y'all. This is what I'm talking about. Okay. The uncle says that people on their side, you will have to give them something too, just for them helping you out. Which is probably true. But why can't you pay that? No, why can't you pay that? I pay the chunk of it, the bulk of it, and you give them the tip. How about that? How about that? See, that's what they want you to do. Pay for everything. And you know who gonna take some from the top? The uncle. He talking about himself for helping out. That's who he talking about, himself. And then he gonna give them a few naira, whatever it is. This is the stuff I don't like. This is what I'm talking about. This is the stuff I do not like. Yeah, I'll check tonight when I get off of here to see if you can pay for it online. And if you can pay for it online, then you can just pay for it for her online. But this uncle, who is he? He's too involved. He's too involved. He sees you as a meal ticket. He's too, Jesus. This is what I'm talking about, y'all. When you see somebody heavily involved like that, that's a big red flag. This man is, if he's just heavily involved now, only person she should be listening to is you. And if there's any African men on here, y'all need to tell me. Y'all need to chime in and say, Kiki right or Kiki wrong. The only person she needs to be listening to is you. You are the person who she's in a relationship with. This is an adult woman. We're not talking about a child. This is an adult. But they like to act like babies. And they like to act like is she the type that need her uncle to tell her what to do and try to live off of you? It's just going to continue. It's going to continue. There's independent Nigerian women over there. Nigerians are very independent. This just sounds like, I don't know who he is, but he just sounds like he got his hand all in the mix. And he looking for something, a kick out for himself. So let's look and see, and then we'll see how much it costs. Because no, if that's the case, and if she can't do it online because she's in Nigeria, then you pay for that part. Then you tell them, y'all pay for that part. I'm paying for the bulk of it. You pay for that part. Because see, that's what the visa people want to see. That's what the visa people, that's what the Homeland Security want to see. They want to see where she's paid for something and you pay for something. They want to see that y'all both are invested in this relationship. That's what they want. Hello, Village Boy. Hello, everyone. First time catching the live stream. Well, welcome. I'm glad you joined us. Chime in anytime you want to comment. But yeah, I don't like that, y'all. That's the stuff I don't like. I don't like when I see stuff like that. Do you think the young Nigerian was using some kind of magic to influence her to send money? Because it seems odd she was tight-fisted with money and everyone but him. He probably was. He probably was. And guess what else they be doing with them, y'all? They be doing sexting. They be doing sexting with them. Yes. So I'm not saying she was doing that, but I'm saying that's what they be doing. But yeah, he probably did. He probably took her pictures because he could take her picture. You could take your picture and you could do it with the picture. And she was a willing participant. So she wasn't somebody he would have to put a strong spell on. She was willing to give him whatever he wanted because she wanted to be with him. Remember, even after that. But do I think he had put some type of spell on her? Yeah. And when you hear about what she did next, yeah, because they'll do that. Everybody know how to do that, and I'm not gonna say they are. I take that back because Nigerians in general do not like black magic. They do not like witchcraft. Nigerians in general are very religious people, and they do not like anything like that. But those people on the side who need to make money the quick way, they will do this. They will do this, okay? And I'm just telling you the truth. This is what you got to watch out for. Even the men. Jay, you got to watch out for this because the uncle could be doing it or trying or talking her into trying to do, especially when they got your pictures. And don't do the sexting stuff with them because you know what they do too? They'll take your picture, the sexting picture, after they get it of your private part, and they'll tell you, now you got to give me $3,000, $4,000 for these pictures. But a grown adult, they'll tell them more. Or I'm going to release these to everybody on Facebook, or I'm going to sell these to some website on the internet. Yeah, that's another thing they'll do to you. So don't send them no pictures. Okay, so that's what I think too. I thought maybe he put a spell on her too also, because I was like, why would she be sending him money? And she wouldn't even give her own granddaughter. And I said, oh, he probably used her. I recommend you use extreme caution. Too many red flags, especially that uncle. Especially that uncle, Jay. Especially that uncle, man. No, I don't like that uncle. You need to tell him mind his own business. And see, when you do that, he gonna get mad. And then he gonna be determined to make the relationship fail. Okay, thank you for the advice. I do appreciate it because in the beginning of the relationship, she used to always ask me for, no, don't do that. This is a scammer, okay? She's a scammer. Oh my God, Jay, you need to stay in touch with me, dude, okay? Please, no, don't talk to her no more. Block her on everything. Jay, that's what they ask for, gift cards. They ask for gift cards because you're not going to think it's a scam because they do something with the gift card. I'm going to have to do a video about that. And from Google, a gift card from Google Play. Okay, yes, I guess they used to sell those. Okay, so it's something about the gift cards that's what they ask for now. Okay, and I'm not sure what it is, if the gift cards can't be traced or if you can cash them in after so long, like you can cash certain cards in. I got to see what it is about the gift card. But yeah, this person is a scammer, honey. This person is a real live scammer because that's second red flag, the gift card. What the heck is a real person in Nigeria gonna do with a daggone gift card? They can't order nothing. They not getting nothing. Ain't nothing being delivered to Nigeria. Amazon ain't delivering nothing to Nigeria. Ain't none of them stores that have gift cards delivering nothing to Nigeria. They're not doing it. This person is a scam. Do you video talk to this lady? Hey, email me and tell me what's, yeah, please stay in touch with me. Don't talk to her no more. Block her. I know it's going to be hard because you've been talking to this the same one. You've been talking to her for a while. But this right here, the uncle and the gift card, Those are two signs that this is a scam. This is a big scam. And I got to do a video about the gift cards so y'all know. Because I just thought that was ridiculous. I was like, who's buying gift cards? You know, I'm like, who's going to buy somebody a gift card? I didn't even know people would really do that. But look, I'm gonna do a video about this, okay? Because they really are asking for gift cards, and they really are doing that because that's what they said they're asking for, gift cards. And I didn't believe it. I'm like, I just kind of laughed about it. I'm like, really? A gift card? Because we'll buy a gift card, we're not going to think nothing of it. But there's something up with the gift cards, and I can't remember what, because I wasn't paying attention. And I wish I was now. But that's okay. I'm going to go back and do a video about that. Okay? So please go, honey, now go to Gambia. And just go to Gambia. Okay? Just start going on there. Go to Gambia. You'll meet you some nice girls over there. And they ain't going to be doing all that. I did that one. For real? Once I got to that airport, it was a wrap. Don't talk to him or the family. Didn't talk to him or the family. They were full of. What happened, garden lady, when you got there? You said once you got to the airport, it was a wrap. What happened at the airport? Because that's what she said. She said, I ain't gonna tell y'all till we get to that part. Garden lady, please tell us what happened. You said when you got to the airport, it was a wrap. What happened at the airport? And you said you didn't talk to him or the family. What happened? Please tell us what happened. Because this is how we stop other people. This is how we save other people, okay? So please share with us what happened. Okay, let's see, y'all, what this one said. To be honest, I was willing to send her some money, but I couldn't. So she said she'd rather for me to send her a gift card. And I did agree to that. And the video chat with her almost every day. Okay, good. So it's a real person. We know it's a real person. Okay. But that don't mean she ain't a scammer, huh? That because what's she doing with a gift card? I can do a gift card. What are you doing with a gift card? They do something with them gift cards. And the money, I think the money, because it's going to go to a person or something. And you got to have ideas. Something about the money why they don't want that. They prefer the gift cards. But I can't remember right now. And but that other stuff, no, you can't trust her. Honey, you cannot trust her. I got a picture of her uncle's ID. I actually know who he is because I seen him on the video chat too. See what I mean? Do she live with the uncle? Why is he there? Is your uncle in your conversations? Think about it. Is your uncle in your relationships? No. These men will put their wives up to doing this so they can get money. Yes, they will. Let me tell you, I knew a girl, my best friend's sister. She was gay. Everybody knows she gay. She one of the gays that looks like a man. But we all knew it. We just accept her for who she is, right? So me and my friend, we hung around a lot of Africans. So she grew to like the Africans because we was around cool Africans. So she figured all Africans are cool. Because my sister, her best friend, be about around Africans, and the Africans they be around is cool. So I guess most Africans is cool. So she working at this nursing home. She meets this Nigerian lady. Nigerian lady pretends she's gay. Okay, pretends she gay. She tell my friend's sister she want to marry her because she's she's gay too, and they fall in love. She pretending to be in love with her. She moved into the house with her and everything. Move into the apartment, everything, right? So she tells my friend, sister, I want you to help me get my brother here. And my friend's sister say, okay. So she said, but you got to marry him, okay? You have to legally marry him, and you got to help him get his papers so he can come. No, he was already here. He was out of status, okay? She said, I need you to marry him to help get him in status because he's out of status. He came on a visitor visa, and I think it was about to expire or it had expired, And she wanted to, once she married him, she could apply to adjust his status. So she said, okay, y'all. Because she thought this was really her brother, and she was in love with the girl. And so she said, okay. So the brother had to come live in the apartment also. So guess what we found out, y'all? That the brother was really her boyfriend. Yes, the brother was really her boyfriend. And she was pretending to be gay so she could get her to file for his papers. And he had already filed, she had already filed for his papers. His papers were at the last step before the approval step. So she did all that, paid for all of that. And this woman was not gay. She was using her. So they'll do anything. They'll do some of them, not all of them, some of them will do anything for money. Some of them will do anything for money. Like the uncle. Who is he? He's too close to the business, especially if she's not young. He's too close. He's too involved because he sees you as money. He wants to make sure she gets that money and milks that. Yeah, the uncle's probably her husband. Exactly like I said. Yeah, he probably is. He probably the husband telling her what to do because that's what they do. They'll put the wife up to it. It was a police commissioner. Him and his wife did the same thing in Nigeria. You would never think a police commissioner, he wouldn't do that. Yeah, he did. Him and his wife. Did it to a lady in Texas. Married her and everything. Everything. And it was all a scam. He was already married. He was already married in Nigeria, and they were scamming her together. So, honey, no. I'm telling you, money is hard over there. It's hard over there in Nigeria. They will do anything. Not all of them, but some of them. And he showed his ID to create false trust. Who shares their ID with a stranger over the internet? Exactly. And guess what? It's probably a fake ID because it's easy to get anything you want, any document you want. And you know what else they could do? They could get a fake passport and tell you it's a real passport and just pocket that money. And they could tell you they're going to apply for the visa and they're really not applying for the visa, but they need your money to apply for the visa and then they pocket that money. And then they'll keep telling you, we need more money because they want this document, they want that document, they want this document, they want that document. That's another game that they'll play. Yeah, the uncle was probably the husband because nobody's going to give you that. And that document probably is fake. I bet you it's fake. But when I knew about the game, I've stopped talking to her for a minute. And I guess she felt bad and she was really changed her ways. And I told her about herself trying to use me. Yeah, don't talk to her no more. Plan you a trip to the Gambia. I'll help you do it, okay? And I got some friends there who will show you around. I got a nice place where you can stay. My friends can take you where you can meet nice girls. I'm sorry, nice women. Please don't do this no more. Please don't. That's that Jay. You are playing a very dangerous game. You know in your heart this woman ain't right. There's so many African women, and I know when you spend time talking to them, it's hard to get off of that because they get in your mind. It gets in your mind. But you gotta break away from that. You gotta break away from that. That's why I said just start looking at the Gambia. The Gambia is a safe place. I know they just had some bad stuff happen, but by and large, it's a safe place. And the women, it ain't scamming like this. It ain't scamming like. And you a young dude. They'll like you for real. They'll for real like you. Yeah, if they'll for real like you. So they're not gonna. Oh Jesus, that's what I'm saying, y'all. We got to be careful. That's why we got to share our stories and tell what's going on for real because people can get hurt like this. And that's why I felt like she changed because she was willing for me to send money to you in order to get the passport. And I guess she really felt bad about things. And now she's trying to change her. Well, she's trying to build your trust back so she can go back to the next thing she's going to do to you. So they probably trying to use some black magic on you now or something. Hold on, y'all. I'll drop my water. She trying to do something like that because they don't have you under control. Because if you were under their control, you couldn't break away from her. And they need you under her control. But they don't have the money to pay for no kind of magic like that. So they need to get more money from you. Wow. Yeah, that person is not the type of person you want to talk to. Yeah, the uncle is the husband. He is the husband. It's no doubt he is the husband. He's too in the picture. No uncle is going to be in the picture like that. He's just not. The uncle got a whole life. The uncle got a wife. The uncle got a family. Why is he around her like that? Because that's his wife. And he letting her do that. He probably making her do it. All right, so now let's get back to Miss Diane. Miss Diane. Now listen to this. This is what some they could make some of y'all do this too. They said that the next thing Michael did was open up a credit card in Miss Diane's name. This credit card had a $2,000 limit, okay? Because her credit was perfect. That was another thing she believed in. She believed in having excellent credit. She said, if you don't have excellent credit, then you don't have nothing. So she tells Michael all of this. So Michael knows she has excellent credit. So Michael's opening credit cards. He gets out to $20,000. He gets an account with his $20,000. They're all in Miss Diane's name. Then he gets her. On top of this, she finds out. She just get mad because he ran up the account, but she's still talking to him. It ain't no big deal. She just mad about it, but they still talking. Because guess what she do after that? Y'all not gonna believe what she does after that. She opens up a bank account. She not one bank account. She opens up several bank accounts in her name with Michael. All right. So I'm thinking checking accounts. So I'm like, why would she open up checking accounts? For what? Why does he need and why is he asking her to open up checking accounts, like different checking accounts, not just one checking account, but several different checking accounts? Okay. Then she goes on to say that she knew he was talking to other women and she knew he needed these checking accounts to for other women to put money into those accounts for him. I'm like, what? So let me say that again, y'all. She said she knew that these accounts she was opening up, she knew he was talking to other women. She knew he was getting money from these other women. She wanted him to open up these accounts, her to open up these accounts so he could put money. No, I'm sorry. So these other women could put money into those accounts. So she says she did that. So one time, this woman deposited some money into the account. She said then the woman came back and took the money back out of the account. She said she knew who the woman was because she had the woman's information. She then contacted the woman and told the woman, she threatened to call the police on the woman and told the woman, I believe she said that. If I'm wrong, forgive me. I believe she said she was going to call the authorities on her if she didn't give her the money back, because that was her bank account and that was her money because the account was in her name. So the lady put the money back in there. The lady put the money right back in there. So I'm like, wait a minute. How is it her money? None of this is making sense to me. None of this is making sense. None of this is sounding like somebody who's being taken advantage of. None of this is sounding like the other people's story. This is sounding like we working together. At this point, this is sounding like I'm helping you do stuff because I'm in love with you, so we doing this together. Because guess what else she said she had? And this is her telling her family members. She says that she had a 2-page list of women Michael had been talking to and that had been sending him money. Yeah, I'm gonna let y'all think about that while I drink this water. Yes, Michael. Michael had a 2-page list. She had a 2-page list of names of women Michael had not only got money from, that he had scammed. No, I'm sorry. She said he had scammed them for money. And she had a 2-page. She knew who they were. She said she didn't care. Listen to this part. She didn't care who they were. I'm not going to say she didn't care because I can't remember if she said this or if I wrote this as my commentary. I have down here, I probably said this, that she didn't care that he was scamming these other women because she was in love with him. All that matters is that she was the main girl because he asked her to marry him. Okay? Now, I didn't tell y'all that part. Yeah, they were getting married. They weren't just boyfriend and girlfriend. They were getting married. So, this money, she felt like this is her money. This is her bank account. Put her money back in her account. So, at this time, Diane is now planning to go to Nigeria. She's planning to leave her family, and she's planning to relocate to Nigeria. But first, she starts separating herself from her family. And this is when they said something was going on. And this is something that they'll want you to do. This is why I said this person could have been a narcissist, because narcissists behave just like this. They come on real nice and friendly in the beginning. Remember, he was talking to the family. He was talking to everybody. He was friendly with everybody. Now, all of a sudden, he doesn't like anybody. He says they don't want us together. They're going to keep trying to separate us. Don't talk to them. Don't tell them what's going on with us anymore. You see, when they found out about the money, they tried to break us up. So don't tell them what's going on. So she agrees, and she stops talking to them. So they said they started noticing when they would have family functions, she would just be on her phone. Or she would not come to anything. She would be on her phone, or she'd be somewhere on the internet. And that's when they said they knew something was seriously wrong, because she would not talk to them anymore. And her granddaughter, who she was really close to, she said the granddaughter said she wouldn't do anything with her anymore. She wouldn't call her anymore. She wouldn't hang out with her anymore. She just wanted to be on her phone in seclusion talking to Michael. So then they said it was another thing that happened. They said she had weight loss surgery just out of nowhere. Just out of nowhere, she says she's going to have weight loss surgery. And they knew this was all about Michael, because they said this lady, I think she was 70 then. She was 70 years old, and she was having plans. And just think about that. She could have died from that surgery, people. Just think about that. You're 70 years old and you're having weight loss surgery. And the daughter says she wasn't even that big, but she wanted to look good for Michael. She wanted to be shapely for Michael. So she wanted to, but they had no idea. At this time, they still had no idea she was planning to go to Nigeria. They still didn't know. They still didn't know what her plan was. But in the meantime, after the weight loss surgery, they said they noticed her passport. She left her passport laying out. They said she never had a passport before. She never had any interest in leaving the United States. Of course not. Of course she doesn't. She's from Ohio. The Midwest people love the United States. We are true Americans in the Midwest. So when they saw the passport, they asked her, the granddaughter said, "Why do you have a passport?" Now remember, Michael told her, don't tell them anything. You can no longer tell them what's going on between us. You got to keep it all to yourself. So she tells them she has a passport because she wants to go to Mexico with the granddaughter, because the granddaughter goes to Mexico every year. So she says, oh, I want to go to Mexico with you, and I'm planning to go to Mexico. So she said she thought that was strange because the grandmother never had an interest in going to Mexico with her. And she didn't even tell her that she wanted to go. So she said she thought all that was strange. But she said, okay, if she want to go, then that's fine. But this is the kicker, y'all. This is when they said they knew something was really, really wrong because she put her house up for sale and she didn't tell anybody. She didn't tell anybody. And the way they found out was the house was on. No, the sister told them. I think she told her sister first. But they asked her about it, and she said the sister was lying. She said, no, it wasn't true. The sister was lying. But afterwards, they went on realtor.com, and that's when they seen the house was truly for sale. So that's when they staged this big intervention. Her whole family got together. They staged this big, huge intervention, okay? They asked her not to sell her house. They asked her not to talk to Michael anymore. They asked her to please don't leave them. Don't plan to go to Nigeria. Don't do any of that. Just stay here with us. We're your family. We love you. Do not talk to him anymore. And once again, they plan to talk to Michael. They talk to Michael. They tell him, do not talk to their mother again. They said, this relationship is over. You will not be talking to her anymore. She's not going to talk to you anymore. So after that, now I got to hand it to them because they did try to stop. They did try to intervene. They did an intervention, okay? So they took her to the hospital. They tried to get conservatorship of her where they could be her POA and they could really say what goes on with her, okay? So if the person isn't willing to do that, when Miss Diane was not, then you got to prove that this person is mentally incompetent and they can't take care of themselves. Well, Miss Diane could take care of herself. They wanted to say she was mentally unstable because she had a Nigerian boyfriend and she was sending him all this money and he was in his 20s and she had just sold her house and she was planning, well, it hadn't sold yet. Her house was up for sale and she was planning to relocate and be with him. But the court wouldn't do it. The court would not do it. They would not give her conservatorship. Then they put her in the hospital. They said she had a mental breakdown. They tried to say she had dementia and that she should not be allowed to make decisions for herself. They put her in the hospital. The hospital held her there for 2 days against her will. For 2 days, they said she's fine. This lady can make decisions on her own. You know, they called the real estate company and told them. Real estate company said, no, we can't do anything about it. She's a grown woman. If she wants to sell her house, she can sell her house. So that's where we're going to stop, and I'm going to look at your questions. Now we're at the part where they know this woman is seriously planning on going to Nigeria. She sold the house. Well, she ain't sold it yet. It's up for sale. But she got the house up for sale, and she did all that behind their back. Knowing her additional actions, including putting the house up for sale, I think my initial gut feeling was correct. I think she was, oh, you think she was under a spell. Wow, you think she was under a spell. Because it didn't make sense to me. Because it seemed like she was going along with it. It seemed like she was going along with whatever Michael said. Whatever Michael said, she was just going along with it. Whatever he told her to do, she was going along with it. And I'm like, how can you grow up a big segregationist? And how can you grow up being the way you are? How can you be tight-fisted with money, but when you meet him, everything changes? But that's a sign, people, that witchcraft is involved. That's a big sign because they said the way you know is that you'll do things you would never, ever do. And she would never, ever do these things. So you're right. She probably was under some type of spell. She probably was being controlled by some type of witchcraft. But see, that's why I said it's so dangerous. The mental breakdown also can be indicative of black magic, yes. And her being lonely with her mother. Now, see, when you're gone, when you are in that depressive state from grief, depression, that is a dark spirit. That is a really dark, dark spirit. So when you spend time with depression, you're gonna attract people who have that dark, negative energy in their life. And most of those people are manipulative people, and those people are narcissists because they're going to pick up on your weakness. That this person is weak. This person is vulnerable. This person can be taken advantage of. So that's why you don't want you can be sad, but don't wallow in the sadness. Don't wallow in the grief because you're going to bring something into your life that's going to try to destroy you. That's going to try to destroy you. And unfortunately, it did destroy Miss Diane. Unfortunately, it did destroy her. But yeah, I think you're right. I really think you're right. Because this just, like I said, it wasn't making sense to me. Jay, you have to go there and meet her. Don't bring her here before you go there and visit with her and her family. I wouldn't even go. I wouldn't even go meet her because this whole uncle situation and how you said they was asking for money before and how the uncle was all heavily involved, I would just wrap. I would consider that a wrap, and I would move on. I would move on. That's what I would do. And I always go to another country because I ain't trying to run into you accidentally in that country again. So I would truly just move on. And in love with a 25-year-old, he was younger than 25. He was 21 when she met him. Yeah, he was 21 then, and she was 69. Yeah, and that's what they were saying. How could you even be in love with somebody that age? When you are at your lowest and vulnerable, it is when people can work. Yes, that's when they can do their best work. It's so true. He's absolutely right. So she probably was under a spell. And that's why you got to be careful. You got to be careful. You have to be extremely careful, especially when you meeting people online, because only certain type of Africans are online people. That's what you got to realize. Most everyday Africans are not meeting people online. They're not online. They're working. They're working. Yeah, they're not online. I never met nobody online. I haven't. I don't meet people online. I don't like to meet. When I was single, I never met people online because I thought that was creepy. Meeting people online because they looking at your picture, summing you up, trying to see if they like you. I don't like that vibe. So I never met people online. So that ain't a good place to meet people online in the first place. Because like I said, only a certain type of person does online. Only certain type of African person does online dating. They don't even trust people online. They think the internet is the devil. So for them to be online meeting people, that just shows that person ain't right. Something you got to be careful. So, and not to, let me see, did we answer that question? Okay. Yes. They are, when they see you're like that, that's when they go in. So now we're at, so they make them end the relationship. Well, they think they thought they made them end the relationship. But come to find out, they were still talking. They were still talking. And the way they found out that they were still talking is because she had bought a ticket to Nigeria. She bought a ticket to Nigeria, and that's when they found out. Her house sold, listen to this, her house sold on March the 15th. The money was deposited in her house, in her account on the 16th, and on the 17th, her and all her money leave for Nigeria. So, do we got any questions? No questions? Okay, so let's keep going. So now she arrives in Nigeria. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm getting the text. Now she arrives in Nigeria. And this is when the story get crazy. This is when the story just get totally crazy. So she arrives in Nigeria. She says when she arrives in Nigeria, when she gets off the plane, that's why I want this lady to tell us what happened to her, but I don't know what happened to her. When she arrives in Nigeria, she said multiple masked men, Nigerian men, come to her. Multiple Nigerian men surround her. Okay. And I'm like, what? At the airport? That doesn't sound right. Now just think. How could, for one, the police are everywhere in the airport. Immigration is everywhere in the airport. Customs is at the airport. Security is in the airport. So how could a group of masked men, you think they're going to let a group of masked men surround a white lady from the United States? That didn't happen. I can tell you that didn't happen. They're not going to let nobody do that to you, no matter what color you are. There's not going to be a group of masked men running around the airport in Lagos. It's not. Or Enugu State, because that's where she went to, Enugu State. I don't know if I'm saying it right or not. But it's probably Enugu State. She gets to the airport in Enugu State, and I guess it's Enugu State. I don't know if it's Lagos. She didn't say, but she said the airport. She said they were a group of masked men. They got her. All right, they took her. They came and they took her. Then when they took her, they took everything she had. They took everything she had. I guess that meant her money. I guess that meant everything she had. She said, but, now listen, they let her call her family and her friends. Now, if they kidnapping you, because they said they kidnapped her. She said they kidnapped her. Once she got back, she said she was kidnapped. And I'm going to tell you how it's going to get wild. If they kidnapped you, why are they going to let you call home? And they let her call home several times. She didn't call home just once. She called home several times. Okay? She said they took her phone, but they were letting her call from another phone. She said they smashed her phone, but they were letting her call from another phone. Now remember, it's Michael and these group of men who are doing this to her. Okay? These group of masked men. So then she said they took copies. Now, they didn't take her passport. They took copies of her passport and all her ID, and they gave it back to her. Why would kidnappers do that? Because if they give you back your passport, you can just leave whenever you want to. You can get away from them and you can go back to the United States. So why would the kidnapper make copies of your ID and give you back your ID? So she said they made copies of her ID and then they gave her the ID back. That's what she said. So I'm like, that don't make sense either. Then she said they fed her beer and potatoes. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, beer and potatoes. She ate beer and potatoes every single day that she was there. And I believe she came back in July because she passed away in August. So she said she had beer every day. She said she was beaten. She was physically abused by them. They said, the family said, you could see when she came back that she had bruises on her body. They said she slept on a sheet. Now listen to this. On a floor in a warehouse where there were many different women from all over, from all different nationalities. And they all were kidnapped by Michael and these men. This is the part I just found hard to believe. This is the part I just really struggled with. It was a lot that, no, I'm not going to say this is the only part. A lot of this story, the masked men, I struggled with that part. That part just didn't sound believable to me. And this warehouse doesn't sound believable to me. Okay. So this warehouse does not sound believable to me. And I'm going to tell you why the warehouse doesn't sound believable to me. Because, well, let's wait till later on. Let's wait till later on because I got to tell you more about the warehouse. So all these women are in this warehouse. They're all sleeping on a sheet. They're all sleeping on the floor, and they're all from different countries. Okay, so we don't have any questions, so let's keep going. So she called her family. Her family says she called many, many times in July, but she said every time she would call, she had a gun to her head, and they were forcing her to say she was okay. Guns are not readily available in Nigeria, and the guns that are available in Nigeria are usually like makeshift, like they make them. So that was another thing I kind of struggled with, like, where did they get that from, you know? And did all the masked men have them? You know, that's not normal. You know, they have them, but it's not common like here. So she said they held the GUN to her head, and the family also found out that she was being, y'all not gonna believe this part. The family found out when she went to Nigeria. The family couldn't believe it because she told them, I believe she told them she was going somewhere, or either she didn't tell them where she was going, she just left. So they were trying to find out where she was. So they contacted the FBI. They had been trying to get the FBI involved, but the FBI was not trying to get involved. So she finally talked to somebody there, and they looked to see if she was really on a plane to Nigeria, and they found out that she was. But the police, not the police, the FBI, they so rude and crude. They told her, ma'am, we're actually investigating your mother for money laundering. Okay. So we think that she is in cahoots, in partnership with this guy, Michael, in laundering this money in the United States. So the FBI was investigating Miss Diane for money laundering with Michael. Yes, because all the bank accounts was in her name. So they couldn't believe it. They could not believe that the mom, their mother, their 70-year-old mother, was being investigated for money laundering by the FBI. So they knew exactly who Miss Diane was. They knew exactly about everything she was talking about, but they were just acting like they didn't. They knew exactly what was going on. So let's look at this time. Yeah, they knew exactly what was going on. They were just playing like they didn't know. But that's why they weren't in an uproar. That's why they weren't in an uproar. Hey, you sure did. I'm doing pretty good. How you doing, Curly? Stay ready. So that's why they weren't in an uproar like that, because they knew. That's why they weren't trying to do anything, because the family was like, the FBI wasn't trying to do anything. They weren't involved. They weren't trying to do nothing. But this is why. Because the FBI felt like she was involved. She was working with Michael. So they just wanted to see how far this was going to go. So they knew she was in Nigeria. They wanted to see how far whatever they were doing, their money laundering schemes, they wanted to just see how far this was going to go. So this is how she said she escaped. She said she escaped. This 71-year-old lady escaped. All these other women there, none of them escaped, but she was able to escape because, listen, she said she made friends with the security guard there. I kid you not. So the warehouse that was housing the women had security. Of course it's got security. They were kidnappers. I thought she said they were kidnappers. So they went from kidnappers to security guards. So the security guard there, she said he became her friend. And she was talking to him And she asked him, is this how you really want to spend the rest of your life, as, doing this kind of stuff? And, he said no. So she said he began to become her friend. He felt sorry for her. He felt sorry for her. So he took her he helped her escape. And he took her to the airport in Enugu State. Okay. And he dropped her off at the airport. But first, her family said he bought her a ticket so she could get back. And then I was thinking, well, what happened to her round trip ticket? Because they make you buy a round trip ticket. So I said, well, wait a minute, what happened to her round trip ticket? Because even if you can change the dates on those tickets. So she went in July. I know, and they said she was planning on staying this whole thing don't sound right. So she went in July, okay? You usually go to Nigeria for 2 months, maybe 3 months. But she went in July, March, April, May, June, July. She came back in July. So she was there 4 months, March, April, May, June, July. So she was there for 4 months, okay? So they said her ticket had expired, but that doesn't make sense. We don't know when the round trip ticket was for. The daughters don't know either. The granddaughter don't know either. But Miss Diane said he bought her a ticket. So that doesn't make sense. Or either the daughter said, somebody said he bought the ticket, because then the story changed during this interview, and they said that they were telling her, they told her to take her medical records, okay, and show them her medical records, and her medical records would help her get a ticket. So that made me think, okay, maybe she had a ticket for like 2 months, and she needed to reschedule she rescheduled the flight. That's what I think. Okay, I think she rescheduled the flight. This whole story don't even sound right to me, because she went to the airport in Nigeria and it was late. She said it was at night. The airport isn't open 24 hours in Nigeria like that, especially in Enugu State. It's not open like that. That's not even one of the major states. So the airport. So how did she get in the airport? So I'm confused. For one, how did she get in the airport? Number two, how did she communicate with the people? Oh, they said it was a Nigerian lady who went with her, and maybe she communicated for her. But what happened to her round trip ticket? That's another thing I want to know. What happened with that? When was she supposed to come back? Because she was planning on coming back, because she put her things in storage. So none of that made sense to me. So then she says, because I'm like, if this is a security guard, where did he get $2,000 to buy her a ticket? Where did anybody over there get $2,000 to buy her a ticket? So none of that made sense. So either she already used the ticket that she had, because she definitely had a round trip ticket. So that part definitely did not make sense to me. So then they said that the airport, she arrives in the United States, okay? The airport calls from the United States and tells them that her grandmother is here. She's coming from Lagos, Nigeria, and she is very sick, and she's in a wheelchair, and they need to come pick her up. And that was in late. See, y'all, this doesn't make sense. March, April, May, June. That was in late July. Late July. So she was there till July. She even spoke to her family. So she came in March, April, May, June, July. So she was there 4 months. That's not an unusual time frame to stay. So this whole kidnapping stuff don't make sense to me. So then she says, they said she got sick. Once she's back, she's telling them all the stuff that happened to her. And another thing that didn't make sense to me was the beer and potatoes. Was she eating chips? Now, I know they eat chips. They eat chips like potatoes, they call them chips. They're French fries. Okay. But Nigerians, they mainly we ate a lot of plantains, like fried plantains. I don't recall them being big potato eaters. They'll eat fufu, they'll eat, I forgot what else they eat, amala, and eba, that's the name of it, eba. They'll eat that, or is it amala? It's one of them two. But they'll eat that, but not so much of potatoes. So I'm like, beer and potatoes, where was she getting these potatoes from? And why would they be giving you beer? Beer is expensive. Why wouldn't they just give you water? That didn't make sense either. So they're giving all the ladies beer and potatoes. Is it homemade beer where they're brewing it themselves? Because if it's beer that you got to buy, that's going to be costly. That becomes costly. So that didn't even make sense. So I'm like, no, lady, this whole story just really doesn't make sense to me. And I'm sorry, I don't really know what happened to you, but something happened. But I just don't think you're telling us the exact truth about what happened. So then she goes to the hospital and she's sick. She starts throwing up once she's back. And the hospital, this part just doesn't sound right either. She goes to the hospital. They said she has malnutrition, malnourished. She's malnourished, okay, from the beer and the potatoes. Because remember, she had the gastric bypass. So that was probably messing her up. She had to eat certain food when you have a gastric bypass. So she probably didn't have access to the food she needed to eat. And especially she claimed she was held hostage. Now, they also said she had, I think it was a staph infection. It was some type of infection that was just spreading through her body. And I think that is probably what really caused her passing. But they said, yeah, it was those combination of those two that caused the passing. The infection and the malnutrition. Okay. They said she passed away 12 days after she arrived in the hospital. She arrived in the hospital on August the 1st, and she passed away 12 days after that. So I'm going to stop here and look at this comment, and then we're going to come back to what they did after that. So this whole thing just didn't sound right to me. It just didn't sound right to me. None of it made sense to me. I believe she might have been under a oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I believe she might have been under a spell. I believe he might have been using some kind of black magic on her. He might have been doing that, or some type of witchcraft. She was there for 4 months. I know. It was hot. I can only stand it for about, yeah, that's how I am. I can't do that no more. Yeah. So she says so I don't know what happened to this woman. The whole story just doesn't sound right to me. The whole story doesn't sound right to me. What I think might have happened to her is that she got there, the money wasn't right. Well, no, let me tell you what the FBI said first. So the daughter goes to the FBI while she's in the hospital and she's sick. And the FBI tell her, well, there's nothing we can do. And then they tell her, we have been following your mother since November of 2021. Okay, since 2021. This is August of 2022. They have been following her. So they know well about who Miss Diane is and about her relationship with Michael. They said that Miss Diane was being investigated since November, and they did not view her as a victim. No, they said she was not a victim. They said she was involved, ma'am. She was a full participant in whatever Michael was doing, the money laundering. She was a full participant. She was not a victim in no shape, form, or fashion. They said they told them about the women at the warehouse. They said the police didn't say anything. The FBI didn't say a word. The FBI wasn't even interested in any of that. They said they felt like they said the vibe the FBI was giving them was that she brought all this on herself because she shouldn't have got involved and was doing the things that she was doing. They said that was the vibe that the FBI gave them. and that they would not be doing anything to investigate this. They said they would be giving her a victim advocate, like to help them in some kind of way, but the victim advocate never came. They said, again, they believe she put herself in this situation, and that is what she gets for putting herself in this situation. And I'm not saying this. This is what the daughter said, how the FBI made them feel when they went to report this again to them. They said they would assign her an advocate, that would come help her, but she didn't. They said she didn't. They never did. They never did assign them an advocate, and they never ever heard another word from the FBI. Wow, y'all. Wow. That's all I can say is wow. Wow. This is just crazy. Yep, this is just crazy. This is just crazy. This is just crazy. And then they suggested she contact, well, the man who did the podcast, he told her to contact the Economic Financial Crimes Commission in Nigeria because they are the ones who investigate this international scam stuff. So these are some questions that I had. When she got to the airport, why didn't she tell the Nigerian police what was going on? Why didn't she tell the immigration? Because you got to go through immigration's officer. You got to go through officials to get out of Nigeria. You can't just leave Nigeria without talking to officials, to government officials. So not at one time did she tell any of these government officials she was kidnapped. Not one time did she tell these government officials about these women who were there. Not one time did she tell these government officials that she had been beaten. Not one time did she tell them any of that. Not even when she got back here. She didn't even tell them in Lagos. She didn't even tell them at the airport when she got back here. She was back here. Say she was scared. Okay, when you got here, you go through customs, you see police, immigration people. Why didn't you tell the immigration people that? Why didn't you tell them that, oh my God, they kidnapped me. Oh my God, they've got women there. They've got women from all over. There's probably more Americans there. You guys need to go over there and rescue those women. She didn't say that. She just said I was sick. Can you call my daughter to come pick me up? Not one time did she ring the alarm about these women who are supposedly being held at this warehouse and these masked men. Not one time. So I started thinking, so she said they were married too. That was another thing, that they got married while she was there. So the masked men came and kidnapped you, and then you got married. Now, to get married in Nigeria, you got to go through it's a process, people. You don't just go there and get married. No, you got to wait like 21 days before you could get married. Okay? So, she said they were married. So when did they get married? Because according to her, after they kidnapped her, they went back to this warehouse where she stayed at this warehouse with these other women sleeping on a sheet on a floor. So when did the wedding occur? And why didn't you tell the officials there that you were being forced to marry this man? Because she said she was forced to marry him. Why didn't she say something then? Why didn't she say something then? See, that's what I don't get. Then guess what else she said? When they were seeing her at the hospital, the grandmother at the hospital, the daughter, no, when she came back, the daughter saw her with a purse. She had a really nice purse. And she said, "Oh, where did you get that purse? That's a really nice purse." Guess what she said? "Michael took me shopping. Michael took me shopping and I bought the purse." What? But I thought you were kidnapped. by these group of mass Nigerian men who held you in a warehouse and who only fed you beer and potatoes and forced you to call home with a GUN to your head and pretend like you were happy, but they let you call on a regular basis. And now you're saying they forced you to marry them, but you didn't say anything to anyone at any time, because you got to go to that place 2 or 3 times. You don't just go one time. But she said nothing. And then he took her shopping to buy a purse. What kidnapper is going to take you shopping to buy a purse, people? What kidnapper is going to do that? Please tell me what kidnapper is going to do that. I wanted to rest in peace too. But I think we need to know what really happened. The FBI, yeah, she was a willing participant. Yep, that's what they said. A co-conspirator in money laundering. That's exactly what they said. She was a willing participant and a co-conspirator in money laundering. But like I said, she was under a spell. Oh, I'm sorry. She was under an occult influence. She probably was. But they don't believe that. She probably was. Because she was doing things she wouldn't normally do. She wouldn't normally do this kind of stuff. She wouldn't. But I don't understand these lies, though. I don't understand the lies. That's the part I don't understand. The lies about the warehouse. That to me just sounded like a flat out lie. It sounded like what happened was once she got there, and after Michael had used all the money, because that was his wife, they put it in a bank account. Michael had full access to the money, and once all the money was gone, or he got the money, he got everything he could from her, he was done with her. And he probably said, "You're sick. You need to go back to your country and get it taken care of." Because he don't want anybody to pass away while they're with them. They don't want that, because who they're going to look at? Them. So that's what I really think happened. I think she gave this money to Michael, and I think she was just too embarrassed and too ashamed to say, once I got sick, he sent me back. That's what I seriously think. Because somebody flew with her to Lagos. A woman flew with her to Lagos. So he sent somebody with her because he had enough money, because who knows how much she sold her house for. And that's when the housing prices were big. Housing market was booming. So he sent somebody back with her to make sure she got on the plane in Lagos and she came back to the United States. That's what I really think happened. That's what I really think happened. And I think she was too embarrassed and too ashamed to say what really happened to her. Because no kidnapper, nowhere, people, is going to take you shopping. No kidnapper, nowhere. They're going to let you call and say, "Send the money, send the money, send the money." But they weren't even asking for money. They didn't need to, because she gave them the money willingly. And I think once she realized this is not no real relationship, he don't really care about me, he just really just used me and played me, I think she was just too embarrassed to say so. They put something heavy on her because you're correct. It doesn't make sense otherwise. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. But when she got there, they just let her go. He just sent her back. He just sent her back like it was nothing. I agree with you also about the gang of Nigerian kidnappers at the airport. Sorry, it doesn't. It's just not even plausible. Exactly. That's not even plausible, lady. To keep telling that, keep lying on Nigeria like that. Don't lie on Nigeria like that. That did not happen. That Nigeria will not let that happen. That did not happen. I can tell you that did not happen. Michael came to pick her up. She stayed with Michael. They went and got married. She started getting really sick because she probably couldn't take the food. And she probably was drinking beer with him, and he probably drank beer every day, because some of them do drink every day. Some of them drink a lot. Some of them drink every day. So he could have, drunk because I told you where I live, they would go to the sports bar. People would go to the sports bar and they would drink and watch football, drink beer. So he probably was drinking every day. He probably was eating something. She probably thought the fufu or the eba was potatoes. So she probably was eating what he was eating, because they do eat that every day. So she probably thought, oh, this is potatoes. Because she ain't eating potatoes and drinking beer every day. Now she could be eating goosey soup every day and drinking beer and eating that fufu or that eba with that every day. Now that's what she could have been doing, but that just don't sound right. And then once, like I said, once she got sick, because remember she had that weight loss surgery and it's really hot in Nigeria, okay? She was like, honey, you need to go. You got to go back. You got to go back. You're sick. You are sick. So she had to play this whole thing off. So she had to make up this story. But you notice she never did say, Michael did this, Michael did that, Michael nuts. She didn't even mention Michael in her story. She said kidnappers. It was like Michael wasn't even there, because she didn't want to put any blame on Michael. That's how you know this was all just made up, because she didn't want to face the reality of what was going on. This is not what happened, people. This is not what happened. He sent her back because she was sick, and she didn't want to tell her family the truth. That's just my opinion, though. Yeah, he probably sent her back once she became ill. I know she did. Ill and a liability, right? She had to go back, because y'all, if a foreigner passed away on a Nigerian in their house, they're gonna say, the police are gonna assume you did it. You did it for the money. And you're right. She had no more use to him. And she knew that. She had just left all her money with him. She was homeless, people. She was living with one of the kids, I think. She was homeless. She was homeless. He sent her back with nothing. Nothing. So they had to make it seem like, oh, she had to come up with this story. But she said she had bruises all over her. But who knows what that came from? Nigeria is a rough place. She could have been running into stuff because she's older. She's 70. I'm sure she bruised easily. There's no telling. But if he beating her, what is he beating her with? Because the bruises wasn't the cause of the death. The wasn't either. Okay. Yeah, he had no more use for her, so she had to go. And she knew it. And she knew she was going back empty-handed, and she was too embarrassed. So she had to make up something. That's what I think, people. That's what I think. Kiki, I wish I had $1 for every time a Caucasian woman lied about a Black man. Yeah, that's what this sound like to me, y'all. It sound like one of them stories like where she grew up at in Ohio, where they catch you with a Black man, and then you make up and say that he did you know what to you. He SA'd you. And really, you was a willing participant. You was going along with it. Let me tell y'all something funny, a funny story about that. When I worked at the hospital, I used to work at the hospital in the emergency room when I was going to the university. I was working full time too. And I was working at the hospital. I worked in the emergency room. I was the person who would sign you in, right? So we had this one lady. She was a Caucasian lady. She said she had got SA'd. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The SA word. SA'd. Five Black men. 5 Black men, right? And I was like, what? And because I had to ask what happened, because I got to put it in the report. So I'm writing this down. I'm like, what? This don't even sound right. Yeah, I was just walking down the street, and these 5 Black men just came out of the car, and they just grabbed me, and they just SA'd me. That's kind of like her story. It was a group of men. It was a group of Nigerians. It was a group of masked Nigerians who grabbed her from the airport. So these group of men, they essayed her, right? And her boyfriend, he was there because she was gone all night. So this is the lie. She telling the boyfriend, right? And the boyfriend is right there. So I gotta call the police because whenever it's an essay, you gotta call the police. So I call the police. I tell them, I'm telling the police on the phone. They send out a cruise. A crew. The police come out. I'm telling the police what happened. The police was like, why does it always have to be 5 Black men? Why does it always have to be more than one? It is never just one Black man that SA them. It's always 5. And I just was like, what? They were like, yes. This is the story they use all the time. All the time. When they go out, drink too much, cheat on their boyfriends, and spend the night with the dude, they got to make up a story so they don't get in trouble. And this is the story the police said they made up. They will make up on a regular. So we have to do an SA kit on you. And the SA kit will let us know whether you were actually SA'd or not. So do y'all know the SA kit came back? Do y'all know there was no SA done to this woman? None. They could tell if it's a forcible entry, all of that. Nothing. They said nothing. There was no SA. It was all a lie. So what Places and Spaces just said, yeah, I worked at a hospital. And honey, when I tell you they make that up, they make that up on the regular. And they all look alike. They all look alike, okay? They all got the same description. So I'm just saying that to say, yeah, that's true. They will make that up and say that. That's why I'm like, her story just didn't sound right. You made a good point about her probably getting sick because, yeah, and not eating properly. Yes, that's what her children said, that's how she got sick. And it was. It was. And he was like, no, you got to go back home. We can't care for you here. And plus, it's going to cost too much money. And he's not going to spend that money on her. For her to go to the hospital is going to cost way too much money. So no, go back home. That's why he sent her back home. Her story is very, very similar to another white lady who was a drug that I did a story on her. Yeah, I did a story on her. All the stories are similar. That's why I said if you look, they operate the same. You just got to look for the signs. Yeah, her story is on here too. She said she didn't know either, but she didn't meet this dude. Her story, but this is the part I didn't. When I realized they were buttons, that she had like over 3,000 buttons, then I was like, wait a minute, why would you take that many buttons? But I think he told her that it was for a tailor. Like she was delivering this to a tailor in China, an African who made clothes, I think. Because I couldn't understand, she should have known too. But some people felt like she knew, that she knew also what was going on. But she didn't meet him. He wasn't there. When she went to Kenya, he wasn't in Kenya. He wasn't there at all. She was talking to him on the phone. He said he couldn't make it. So she never saw this person. So this one sounds like this was really some Yahoo Boy stuff. This one sounds like it was different from hers. They used to be soldiers with weapons at the airport. Yep, it sure did. They probably still are. So that's why I said she could have told. They're everywhere in Nigeria. You could easily get help in Nigeria. Easily. The police is everywhere ready to regulate. So that's why I'm like, her not saying anything until she got back to the United States, that just didn't sound right to me. Him letting her call, what kidnapper lets you call on a regular basis? What kidnapper takes you shopping? Who does that? None of that sound right to me. None of it. It just sounded like to me like he just got tired of her. She knew she had lost everything. She knew He didn't want her. She knew that. He probably was showing her who he really was. Because once you're involved, once the narcissist gets you, he shows you who he really is. He probably was abusive. He probably was extremely abusive. He probably was seeing other women in front of her face. He probably had another wife all along and kids. Well, no, he was 25. He didn't have a wife. He didn't have no wife or kids. He was only 25. So he probably was abusive. He probably was doing anything and everything he wanted to do. He probably was just doing his thing. He wasn't at home with her. He was doing whatever he wanted to do. And when she got sick, it was time for him to go. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yes, it does sound like her story. Who think the other white woman wasn't innocent? Yes, because they didn't think that. Because y'all thought she had something to do with it too. Yeah, y'all thought that, but the only reason I didn't think she did is because she never met him. And she was really like on a mission to meet him. But she should have thought, why do you want me? Don't take anything. Oh my God. I've been to Africa so many times, 12 times, y'all. And nobody has ever, oh, when I left Cameroon, they gave me letters to take back and mail letters. That was the only time somebody gave me something to take back with me. And it was just letters that they wanted me to mail to people here in the United States. But other than that, nobody has ever asked me to bring back anything to anybody. So if somebody's doing that, don't do that. That's a huge red flag. Do not do that. Because who's going to get called for that? You're going to go down for that. You're going to go down for that. So, what do y'all think? Y'all can think about it and then put y'all comments in the comment section, because that's pretty much all we got for tonight. I don't know what we're going to talk about next week. I got to look through my notes. If y'all have a show idea y'all want me to talk about, y'all can put that in the comment section, or y'all can email me, whichever one you want to do. I won't even know. And you know what? I just thought about, when I said that, I just thought about how dangerous that was. And I think the only reason, because they were from the university. But don't do that. Don't mail letters, because they could put stuff in letters. Yeah, they can easily put stuff in letters. And they find it at the airport, that's going to be on you. Yep, that's what I just said. Yep, they can lace the letter and you won't even know it. So don't take letters. Don't take nothing. And if they ask you, be suspect. Be like, oh no. Only reason I did this is because they were people who were they were attached to the university. These people were connected to the university. And the first time I went to Africa, I went to Cameroon. And that trip was sponsored by the university. And these people were connected to the university. So that's why I did it. So again, we're going to talk about, I don't know what we're going to talk about. I got to look through my notes to see what we're going to talk about this week. I'm going to try to do a video. I don't know, because I'm so busy. This time of year, y'all, I'm really, really, really busy. Like really busy with my job. And it takes up a lot. And y'all know I have the dance team. So when I'm not doing dance team, I'm doing that. And now I'm going to start tutoring the dance team, because, you know, I need to give a little bit more. I got to help out where I got to help my dance team. And I want them to have really good scores. So instead in our we have to take state tests. And I want my girls to have really good scores. And I know that if I tutor them, I know their scores will be extremely high. So I'm going to start doing that in October. So I am doing a lot. So just please know that I'm going to be here. Okay. So we're either going to do a live, or we're going to do we're going to do a live and a video. But I just got to figure out what we're going to talk about. And the videos won't be like in the summer, like when I'm in the Gambia or when I'm not at work, because I have more time on my hands. All right. So that's all I have for y'all. Thank you so much for joining me. At least we weren't on here 4 hours or 3 hours. We were only, what's that? 2 hours and 14 minutes. So that's not bad at all. So, all right, I love y'all, and I will see y'all next week. And remember, tell me what y'all think. What y'all think really happened? Do y'all think he was just tired of her? She was sick. She was old. She was 71, 70. He was 25. He had all this money. I know he had over $100,000. I know he did. I know her house sold for more than that. He had all that money. Well, she was only there a couple months, y'all. 4 months. He didn't spend that money in 4 months. He still had that money. It was time for her to go. And now look, when she got back here, she couldn't take. That's probably what killed her. Thinking about what she really did. That all her life was over, and now she's homeless. She's pretty much homeless, living with her daughter. Oh, thank you, Jay. You have a blessed one also. So yeah, that could have done it. We don't know, because these stories don't even sound right. This whole story don't sound right. So we don't know. It could have been a broken heart. It does sound like a Lifetime movie. It sounds just like a Lifetime. It would have been a good Lifetime movie too. But yeah, y'all, it's just sad. So all right, y'all. I will see y'all next week, and y'all take care of yourself. All right.